Hey guys, it is Carl Brown from GL365.com. You guys gave the first video 1,000 likes, so true to my word, a long time overdue. We're gonna finish Run to the Hills. So the first video, I showed you all the intro parts, so the intro riff and then the little guitar lines over it. And now we're gonna pick up from there, I don't know, 40-some seconds into the song, I guess, and all the main riffs, all the riffs, solos, everything after that. So we're still in standard tuning here, and we're gonna start with the verse comes in, and that uses those gallop rhythms a lot. So it's a power chord of the 5th fret off the A string, so 5 on the A, 7 on the D, and that's like down, down, up, down, down. Down, down, up. It's like an 8th note followed by 2/16. So you take that and then just move it down to the 3rd fret. Same rhythm. And then we have this. You just pick the C power chord there, and then move this finger back to the 2nd fret there. Just keep the pinky on the 5th fret of the D string, down to 2 on the A, back to 3, back to 2. So this. All right, that leads us to the pre-chorus, which sounds like this. Into the chorus. All right, so that's an open A power chord to the C power chord we just did. Oh, I'm borrowing these top 2 notes with my pinky. You can play them like this. You'll see them generally play like that. So it's the 5th fret on the D and the G I'm playing there though. And then here, they usually play, you'll see this later because they're doing a pretty cool chord voicing here on the F chords. But even when they're not doing that full chord, it's just the F, usually with your thumb on the low E string, 1st fret, and then the 3rd fret there on the A and the D. So for the pre-chorus, you just really need that. But you can add more notes like we're gonna do in the voicing we're gonna use in the chorus here as well. And then one guitarist will go up here and grab the D power chord, and then the other plays the same chord but with a. You can actually have one play it here if you want, just the open D power chord. While one starts doing the gallop rhythm there that takes us into the chorus. So all together. Now we get to the chorus, which sounds like this. All right, so they have a very unique way of playing this first G power chord. It is going to be the 3rd fret on the low E string, while also playing the 3rd fret on the B and the high E with your index finger. So you just bar across those top 2 strings, and then the thumb comes over and grabs this low E string on the 6th, on the 3rd fret there. Now you're gonna also have the 5th fret on the A and the D, play with your ring and pinky fingers. It's a little bit awkward. You need to have a pretty long thumb to do it, or a really good hand position to do it. The open G is in there, so you're hitting all 6 strings. Then they take this same chord and move it back to the 1st fret. So when you're playing the F version, you're still hearing that open G in there. So it's like an add 9 chord. Or a fancy sus2. Probably a fancy sus2 is what you'd call it. Then on the low strings, you do the gallop a couple of times, just on the low 3 strings. So strum the chord first. And then go to the C power chord, then play that chord again, drop back the first fret to the first finger to the second fret on the A there, just like we did earlier, and into the G power chord again, that big one. So we have this. And then we start over, it's going 0, 1, 2 on the low E, and start back over with the same chords. All right, then you go back through the same verse section and same pre-chorus and stuff. Then we get to the solo section. This is a rather short solo section compared to most Iron Maiden tunes. Let me show you the rhythms first. Now, whether he's doing these exact little bass lines or it's really Steve Harris doing it, I think it sounds cool to do them on guitar. You can leave out the little lead-in notes that I do each time. But here's what the riff sounds like. All right, so what I mean by leaving out the little lead-in notes, you're going to start with the low E power chord, or just a low E open string. That shuffle, that gallop rhythm on. And then you can just go straight to the 3rd fret power chord and do there. And then straight to the 3rd fret power chord on the A string. But I like to lead in with the same notes that I know Steve Harris is doing, and it's probably one of the guitar players doing it. It's kind of muddled there, so that would require you to lead it with the 2nd fret right before you go into that chord. So the 2nd fret on low E, and then go to that 3rd fret, that G power chord. Then do the same thing leading into the next power chord off the A string, 3rd fret. So just a fret down. For this. And then we have this. So that's just 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, 3, 2 on the A string. And then 3 on the low E twice. You start over. All right, so you would always do this. That is done everything on guitar. So if you like those lead-in notes, make sure you do those as well. All right, now the solo that goes on over this. Let me play through it real quick, and then we'll take a look at it phrase by phrase. All right, so we have some vibrato bar, whammy bar thing going on there at the end. I didn't use my bar because I would like for my guitar to stay in tune reasonably well to the end of the lesson, but I'll show you what's going on there when we get there. All right, so this first phrase of the solo sounds like this. So that's going to be a quick little sweep across the 14th fret on the G, 12th fret on the B. And into a big bend and release at the 15th fret on the B string. Kind of release that bend, pull off to 12 and go back up to the bend. And then he does this kind of classic. You're going to see this a couple times in the solo. Playing 12, hammer 15, pull back to 12, over to 14 on the G. Do that a couple times. Into a bend at the 14th fret on the G. Take that bend, release it, pull off to 12, and over to 14 on the D. So slow what we have so. Next phrase. All right, so we got some trills starting here at the 12th fret on the D string. So you're gonna do a trill between 12 and 14. Then the same thing at 12 and 14 on the G. Then 12 and 14 on the B. And then move the top note up to 15. All right, and then he's gonna slide up. And he's doing right here the same lick that we kind of did earlier, which did a couple times. And he's kind of randomly, he might change it a little bit, but it's 16th fret on the G, 15th on the B, up to 17 on the B. And then pull back off to that 17th. So what he's doing with the lick, he'll go straight through the notes, go back up and back down. And then a couple times, he'll just do the pull off a couple times from 17 to 15 and then start the licking. You can actually do that little pull, the little 2 pull offs and then just start to lick over. He really kind of does a random lick there. That's one of those things that's just, you can. But it's just between those 3 notes. Then he ends it with a 1.5 bend at the 17th fret on the B. All right, then we get to the next phrase. Sounds like this. So we got some more trills here. We're gonna play a trill between 12 and 15 on the high E. Then do the same thing on the B string. Then at 12 and 14 on the G. And 12 and 14 on the D. So it is. And then we go into an oblique bend. Now what that is, you're gonna be playing the 15th fret with your pinky on the B string. And then you're gonna, while you play that, you're also gonna play the 14th fret on the G string, bent up a whole step. And he kind of picks across the two as he releases that bend on the 14th fret. Resolve it down to the 12th fret there on the G. One more time. All right, now we get to this melody where he kind of creates kind of a warbly effect on the notes with just kind of doing some wild whammy bar action. I'll do it more with my fingers. I don't want to really do this. I don't have a floating trim system like he does. But the notes he's playing are these. All right, so that's the 17th fret on the high E string. So once again, do some crazy whammy bar action while you're playing these notes. 17 on the high E, then 15, 17 on the B. And then 10, 12 on the B. Then he jumps up here and he grabs the 17th fret on the B string, while also you're gonna hear the open high E string with it as well. See that's being played with that. And then you go into this big bend and release at the 19th fret of the B string. All right, so. All right, now we get to probably my favorite part of the song after the solo is the bridge section. There's this, requires 2 separate guitars to make it sound correct. So I'll play both parts. I'll play each one twice. So it sounds like this. Back to the big chorus. All right, so that is just going to be kind of always going back to the open A string, and the power chord here is going to be, or the at first, it's the power chord. We're just going to play the second fret of the D and the G together. So you play those. So hit that, then open A twice, again. And then play that power chord, and then move it up 2 frets. So now it's the 4s on the D and the G, just the 4th fret instead of the 2nd fret. So we have the same rhythm, then at the 5th fret, and then the same rhythm at the 7th. Now I like to grab this one with my ring finger and pinky so I can put a lot of vibrato, because they put a lot of vibrato in that last one. So you'll have, you or a buddy of yours will play that 4 times, while you or a buddy of yours plays this over it. All right, so that is the 7th fret on the D and the 9th fret on the G. So it's just a power chord shape built off the D string, and you're going to keep going back to the open A string. Just same rhythmic pattern as before. And then you move it up to 2 frets to the 9th fret, then 10 and 12. You can put some vibrato on that last one too. All right, so you go through the chorus again coming out of this section, and then at the very end of the song, the chorus is the same as the previous choruses. Very end of the song, you're just gonna have so it's just the end of they just put a tag there at the very end, which is just that C power chord, play it again, then kind of a lot slower. Once again, moving down to the 2nd fret of the A string while keeping this on the D. And then that G power chord that we did earlier in the chorus. All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed it. It's a fun one to play. It is a metal classic, and I will see you guys again soon with another one. Bye-bye.